Hello everybody and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
And I'm CheerandCosplay.
And we're back with more stuff from Trigger. Good old Trigger. Speaking of good old Trigger, let's look at the oldest show that Trigger did. Kill la Kill. The first thing. Sort of the first thing. We all know Gurren Lagann's really the first thing they did, but, you know, officially. Yeah, how long has it been for something? I feel like, has everyone already seen this? I feel like everyone's already seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, how long has it been for some people?
Oh my god.
Since our college anime club.
Yeah, same.
Which would have been right up
So 10 years ago?
Yeah, like
So-
10 years.
So like
About.
right when it came out, or like just
Yeah.
after.
It wasn't right after. I think the show had just finished, and then we decided to watch it. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember
right
we watched it our freshman year.
Do you guys end up? Are you guys just going off muscle memory, or did you rewatch a bunch of this? Because I actually somehow managed to get the day off today, so I watched like 15 or 16 episodes, like almost the whole way through.
I just rewatched the 3.
So I'm going off a muscle memory, but I have the episode plot summaries pulled up in front of me.
Same.
We'll see how my descriptions compare. I'm trying to think here. Because we usually have like someone who at least has not seen something before that we're always like, oh, what was your first impression? Where were you guys at when you first saw this back in the day?
Who are all at Anime Club.
No, where were you all at emotionally?
Oh,
mentally?
emotionally?
What did this elicit from you?
My memory serves me right. We watched 2 shows, and then once those 2 finished, we watched another show. And I believe it was among the second batch of shows we watched our freshman year. Because I remember the first batch. I'll never forget my first time watching anime, basically, was Madoka Magica and another. And then I believe we watched this show afterward. I could be wrong, but it seems like that was the case. And what a way for me to get into anime with those 3 shows.
Oh, wait. So you guys saw it freshman year? Maybe I didn't see it in Anime Club. Maybe I saw it by myself.
No.
Because you would have come a year
I
after.
think I saw it in Anime Club, so it would have been sophomore
Okay.
year.
I was like, am I crazy?
Maybe I'm crazy too.
Well, this came out in 2013. It probably would have come along to streaming and whatnot either later that year or the next year. So yeah.
I want to say that we watched this in 2014, like fall semester 2014, because I want to say we were still in maybe the original club room. But I want to say, I think it was sophomore year because I think I was rooming with Cece and our other roommates at the time that we saw this.
Okay.
You might be right.
I don't know if this is a show I would have watched on my own. Like, it's possible, but I do think it was through Club that I watched it.
Were you feeling extreme enough back then?
Extreme enough for what?
Trigger.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, I was really into JoJo.
Oh, well, there you go. Speaking of JoJo, I'll bring that up later. But yeah.
I mean, I would say before this, I had watched the Little Witch Academia movies, so I was already sort of familiar with at least the studio's art style, but this was very much a departure from Little Witch by a long shot.
Little bit, but only a little bit. Yeah, good thing we're talking about clubs and stuff. There's a lot of clubs in this show that they showcase, at least early on, before the plot gets thick. I keep saying plot because I know that's a term for ass anymore, and it's thick here as well.
Well, I mean, this show is the quintessential definition of you come for the plot, but then you stay for the plot.
Okay, which plot is which?
The first plot is ass and titties. The second plot is actual story.
Because let me tell you here, I was here for the plot the whole time. You can figure out what I mean by that.
The lack of clothes legitimately is the plot in this one.
It is
That's what makes it funny.
Yeah. This is weirdly enough, and I'm surprised they haven't tried to do it more. Like, I feel like we keep bringing up, like, oh, look how Trigger this is, or look how, this is the most Trigger show of all. And, like, it was their entire thesis statement for the company, I think, whenever they came out with this thing. Because it's got all the... So far from the majority of the stuff that I've seen so far, it's like, yeah, like, let's take a mundane situation, turn it extreme. Let's have very bright, insane action, but also PNG clip art for comedy
Yes.
and stuff. Over the top characters. Let's also have a whole lot of like kind of on the nose allegory and like social commentary about class systems and capitalism and all that sort of stuff. Mixed in with just hijinks upon hijinks and a lot of ass.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we've said it a bunch of times. They know what they've been about since day one, and they are never going to apologize for it. So, and neither should they.
Nope.
I remember back when this show came out, the biggest meme going around was that this show and Studio Trigger was quote-unquote saving anime, because back then, I guess, a lot of people were, back then, fed up with the mediocrity and stagnation of the anime industry. Now it's even worse with more shows than ever before, and a lot of them end up being mediocre at best, so unless you're like a big shonen show. So it's kind of funny how 10 years later, the problem hasn't really gone away.
I don't know. I think the problem has changed. I think in recent years you have a lot more shows, which ultimately means there's a lot more variations in quality. And I mean, like, I forget, who's the writer who said like 85% of everything that comes out in any media is garbage?
Sounds familiar. But
Yeah, but, you know, I think there were just less shows going on back then, but I do remember back before this came out for like, from like the early 2000s to the 2010s, it was a whole lot of moe shit because the studios realized, yeah, we can just sell moe of cute girls doing absolutely nothing and we will make all the money in the world. And then people got sick of it around 2011, 2012-ish. And then Kill la Kill happened. It's like, hey, this is something. And it's not the same crap we're watching. But that's my opinion on that. So,
I don't know. I feel like
And now
it depends.
Isekai is the new moe.
it's falling out of favor, I think, a little bit.
I think
But-
it kind of depends on the audience and how the show is being perceived. That will sort of dictate that. Because I think, like, if you're making moe shows, people who like moe are going to stick around for the moe. But anyone else who that isn't their genre of choice, they're going to be the ones that are complaining.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of the thing with Isekai, and then whatever else is the new thing.
Which the Isekai boom kind of happened around 2012, 2013 as well with Sword Art Online. So this was all kind of happening then.
I mean, that's ins and outs of trends, more or less.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I see it. It's the same with the publishing industry.
So with all that, should we talk plot and characters a little bit? I mean, I feel like everyone here knows this, but like, you know, if you haven't watched this and you're looking for a recommendation here, I mean, I watched almost the entire show in one day just because I got on a roll. So I don't know if that's a recommendation or not. It might be. That or I'm a glutton for punishment like Cece is with Dokuro or whatever. But
I mean,
to be
I
fair,
don't know. I
we
feel like
watched almost all that too, so...
Can't look away.
oh my god. If I had time, I probably would have watched at least more than 3 episodes, but no time.
Yeah.
I love this show. I mean, it was definitely one of my favorites when it came out. So, and I really love Ryuko.
How many times have you cosplayed her?
Oh my god, so many.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like years ago, I would cosplay her all the time. Like, I feel like I cosplayed her at more than one con, or at least more than one time, right?
I think so, yeah.
But I love the character, you know, and I think Kill la Kill is such a fun show. So, I mean, I would absolutely watch more of it than 3 episodes, which, I mean, I saw it originally, but rewatching it, yeah.
Yeah. So these first 3 episodes, we get introduced to Honijin. I never say it right. Honijin. We get
Hojin Academy,
we get
something like
introduced to the academy. We get introduced to Ryuko, whose dad got killed, and is on a path of vengeance to try to find the killer. And you know, is a badass who. You know what? I feel like I'm just going to start describing cyberpunk edgerunners. Their parent dies, then they get a weapon that. Or an item that everyone else is using, but they have the best one, and then they get to use that and are better than everybody else for a little while. They meet a colorful group of characters that they hang out with on a regular basis. There's a lot of ass, and then class systems in society, and let's try to take down the oppressive system that controls us.
It's the same.
And aliens.
And okay, I haven't finished Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Are there aliens? Is it full
No.
trigger? Okay.
No.
Not really aliens.
Okay.
No.
This is
I'll spoil that for you because
okay.
it's based on the Cyberpunk 2077 game, and there's no aliens in that game.
Look, man, they'll casually go to the moon. There could be aliens.
They do go to the
Missed
moon.
opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Cyberpunk 2099. You never know. So yeah, we get to meet them. We get to see the system. This and how did they open this? Literally with the teacher talking about how Hitler took over Germany and turned it into a fascist regime. Like, you're setting the tone immediately. Yes, and we are in a fascist regime led by the school president, the class president, which I don't know if it's... I think it's just Trigger taking everything to the extreme. I feel like every anime has the class president be like this all-powerful person that I'm not familiar with the Japanese school system outside of anime. I don't think they have the power that they show in anime. But it's like, what's the most extreme version of this trope? And they made Satsuki.
Yeah, definitely it's the ultimate student council. Like, I think this might be the most powerful student council in anime from at least what I've seen. But yeah, definitely student governments are a lot more important in Japan than they are in America. Like, we didn't even have a student council at my school. That's how much little it mattered over here at my school. So
yeah,
it does matter a lot in Japan.
I mean, when you really think about it, like, you know how they, like, will have the students, you know, clean the school after hours? Because it's, like, more like teaching them to, like, work together as a team and kind of, like, you know, give back to their community. And also just kind of, like, it's just something that you're sort of expected to do in the workforce. So this is also kind of like, they treat it more like actual government sort of positions than just, you know, like a popularity contest, even though it kind of is a popularity contest. But.
Yeah, I get that. It's just, I always find it kind of funny that no matter what anime it is, no matter what the tone is, it always feels like they wield such extreme power over everybody. Which I feel like maybe it's a little more true than it is over here, but I don't feel like it's ever as true. But yeah, we meet them. We get to meet some club presidents who are pretty much just one-off characters that are just mini bosses for the episode as we tackle our way through the boxing club, the tennis club. I'm missing somebody. Oh no, then Satsuki actually gets her thing, and we got a quick fight with her in episode 3, I think. And then we're set for our entire arc at that point.
Woo!
Because let's not forget Ryuko, the only reason why she's going to that school is because she's trying to find the person who killed her dad, who has the other half of the scissor blade that she has.
Yeah, which she found in her burned down childhood home with her dead father, and then went back there, and a nudist threw her in a basement, and she found a super high-tech living sailor suit that fused to her body, not fused to her body, but got on her body and drank her blood and created a symbiotic relationship to destroy stuff. Am I describing Venom?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think for the next Venom movie, Tom Hardy should do a magical girl transformation.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect.
Do it.
At the very least, wear a sailor outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, after Venom 2 was basically a rom-com, yeah, might as well.
So yeah, we're off to the races with that. And what do you guys want to talk about specifically here? I feel like we could go into the entirety of like plot and everything about how great it very much reminded me of Gurren Lagann, outside of just the first episode having that drill punch thing going on with the boxing guy. But it's another one of those shows that's like, you started at like an 8 and we're gonna end at a 32 by the end of this on a scale of 10.
What was the question?
I forget.
What we want to talk about.
So I would definitely say, tonally, this is, like, a lot, I would say, zanier than Gurren Lagann, at least in my opinion. But the main similarity that I can find between them is definitely the art style, particularly in the eyes.
Yeah.
Was my main thing.
It's weird. It's both extremely simple but also highly expressive.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as far as animation goes, though, I was seeing a lot of the spot because like the action scenes are really great, really well done, really fun.
Oh yeah,
and, like kinetic and so many good words to describe it. I am like, now that I'm kind of like trying to hone in on it a little more, I am seeing all the like looped animations and the little like, I can keep calling it clip art PNG animation stuff and all the little things that I'm like, okay, you are trying to save so much money by doing this. And I do appreciate it because when you're really throwing your money at it, it works.
So the clip art PNG thing, if I can just step in again, I noticed it more with Mako than with pretty much any other character. And I think that's just because, like, she's a lot of the exposition for this sort of show. So they're like, okay, we can have her explain things, but we don't really have to animate her mouth. So we're just going to have her do a bunch of clip art emotions, which honestly for her really works.
It's not just her, though, because I did find it happening a lot with a lot of other kind of shows. Gamagori, even. There's lot of times where it's just him with just like an open mouth and they're just panning over his head and he's just screaming something. But it's like, okay, you're not articulating those words at all. Yeah, I feel like to some degree, because the plot's completely insane, but it's also extremely simple, especially early on. There's almost no point to talk entirely about the plot. It's basically just fight your way to the top of the school to challenge the person you think has something to do with your father's demise. And it really just ends up being what are the small individual stories and the individual characters that you're going to meet along the way. So
yeah, it's really when you get to the second core and a certain character gets introduced, and then you find out the truth behind the clothes that they wear. That it really gets, really more zany than it normally does.
I wouldn't even say necessarily zany. I would just say it gets dark.
The stakes are raised.
A little bit, yeah.
So, who's your guys' favorite character in this? Do you feel
like? Oh, that's so hard.
I mean, I hate to be basic, but I have to go with probably Mako because she's just either Mako or Gamagori, those two.
Oh, my OTP? They're a thing, right? Like, I'm not crazy.
They're a good ship.
Well,
they definitely have a thing.
Well, it's funny you mention that because, I think the creator of the show, or at least some of the producers, say that Mako could either go with Gamagori or Ryuko at the end. It's whatever one she chooses.
I heard that too.
Which is fair.
I'm good with either, but I think I just like the idea of Gamagori because I'm also like, man, your wedding night, she's gonna die.
Well, he changes sizes to fit the situation.
But he's never, like, small. I don't know. What's really funny to me, I don't know, how did it ever, well, not everybody rewatched, I guess, but like, did you guys
everybody else has to say their favorite character.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. True. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay, I'll do the really basic one because I love Ryuko. So.
You did mention that.
There we go.
What about her?
I don't know. I guess I just like her whole vibe. I don't know. She's got this tough girl thing going on, but underneath, she's kind of sensitive or whatever. But I think I don't know. I just like that personality in a character. And I like her whole arc and her goals and everything, even though it's kind of basic. It's just like something that she can really connect to. And I love her character design and her battle outfit and stuff. I just always, I don't know, she was just one of those anime characters I really latched on to, so.
Ooh, favorite characters for me, I have a really hard time with this one, particularly with this show, because I'm gonna be really fucking honest, with the exception of one character, I'm pretty much like all of them for varying reasons. Because I like Ryuko because, she's, tough and she's a character you would like to root for. I like Mako because she's just silly as hell. Satsuki, I really like her redemption arc. I find her very interesting. Gamagori and the rest of the student council, I die every single time because I just find them hilarious.
They're so fun.
And then I also love Senketsu because I don't know, he's such a supportive, sort of creature. And, to have him basically as Ryuko's other sidekick and basically support system and have him also be this incredibly powerful being is just like, ooh.
I'm tied for Ryuko and Mako for the reasons stated.
I'm trying to think myself, because you're right. I feel like they did give the time, and they wanted everyone to feel distinct, it felt like, whenever they were writing this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they accomplished that to a great degree. Other than all the same-faced people in the background, which I think might be another allegory for conformity under a fascist regime or something.
You could
But
say that.
Or
yeah.
just a joke. It's kind of funny.
Hey, it works both
see them
ways.
just- Copying and pasting the same dude over and over again.
Trigger's got so many layers, my guy. You have no idea.
You wouldn't get it. It's a show for intellects.
Intellectual.
God, we're gonna start sounding like Rick and Morty fans now.
Yeah, well, I
Speaking
mean,
of-
and also it was their first ever main show that they've
Yeah.
done under the Trigger label, so I'm sure they were going through growing pains. But hey,
Yeah.
what a hell of a way to start out.
I don't think it's a growing
Yeah.
pain. Nothing for nothing. Speaking of Rick and Morty, I don't know if anyone would have been able to rewatch it. There's a throwaway scene where one of the club presidents looks like Rick from Rick and Morty.
Oh,
my
what?
God.
Yeah, he was part of like the biology club or something, some science thing. They were gonna dissect Mako, and then Ryuko beats them up before the opening credits. So, I think I might like the Elite Four the best as far as characters go. It's kind of hard to pick one. I mean, if I had to pick one, it's probably gonna be Gamagori, because I feel like he gets the most screen time of all of them,
Yeah.
and he is so fun when he's extreme, and he's always extreme.
Very true.
The nudist beach guys are occasionally fun, but I think now that I'm a little older, I'm a little like, can you stop using innuendos in front of the 14-year-old? It's a little... I don't care if you're Matt Mercer. I don't think you get away with this.
My former roommate in college and I would always joke about that guy. He would always scream at the top of his lungs, "Nudist Beach," and so
Yeah.
that was one of our favorite running shows.
You know what? I'm gonna say probably, yeah, Gamagori and Mako still. Again, OTP, also favorite characters, because on top of it, in the dub, they're voiced by Dio and Madoka, both gods in their own right. So,
And now it's a new crack ship.
yes. God, Madoka, and Dio are crack ship. I mean, is it crazy that I'm saying I can see it somehow? Not like in a romantic way, but like, I don't know.
I mean, if it was God Madoka, maybe Dio would be interested. But
Yeah,
then again, he's probably too arrogant in
He's just so
himself.
full of himself.
It's gotta be
Yeah.
God Madoka. I don't know. I think she could fix him. It's one of
I
those
don't know. There's no.
situations.
If Best Boy Jonathan couldn't
Yeah.
do it, then nobody else can.
Jonathan couldn't.
Toro would blow his ass up, okay?
Well, yeah, but wouldn't he be kind of into that?
Probably.
Stop.
We know Gamagori is. Ugh. I don't, because I'm like trying to remember the sub, but the dub really leans into some of that stuff with him.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I think Gamagori would be getting strapped by Mako.
Yeah, honestly.
Maybe she
probably.
lives.
I mean, let's think about it. Like, out of all the, not counting the Elite Four, out of all the club presidents, Mako was the closest one to killing Ryuko. Now, granted, Ryuko didn't want to fight her, but still, she
Yeah.
got the closest to killing her out of all the other club presidents.
Plus, she's the most ready to give a beatdown, which we know Gamagori likes a nice beatdown.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's getting pegged.
Uh-huh.
Very true.
I don't know if everyone does remember, but at the end of that, the school raid arc, some dude does get pegged.
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, he had a crab suit, and they beat the crab suit off of him, and then I mean they were able to attack. How do I describe this? Okay, you remember Kendo Stick guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of the Elite Four guys. So he's fighting a dude in a giant gold crab monster machine, and the crab monster machine shits crab guts on him and then tries to cook him in crab guts. But he escapes, and then he sticks his sword in the crab's butthole And by doing that enough, it destroyed the crab robot, but then there's the guy who is inside the crab robot, and there's still a port it's directly in his ass. And he just shoves his sword up to the hilt, and there is a very, very specific, I don't want to repeat the sounds that were made, but let's just say it cut to a picture of a rose blooming, which has its own connotations in the genre.
I do remember this.
This fucking show, man.
As far as a one-off character, though, might have been the funniest one-off character. From a dub perspective of, man, everyone's giving 110%. You gave 150 on this, one-off asshole. It's hilarious. But yeah. The dub cast here, Envy, I think you were saying that, it had, a legendary dub kind of thing. It's really good.
You have Erica Mendez as Ryuko. She's a great star. Christine Cabanos as Mako. David Vincent as Senketsu. Patrick Seitz as Gamagori. And there's just, Erica Harlacher is Mako's mom. And there's so many other, famous voice actors and actresses now that Matthew Mercer is the nudist beach guy. So, there's so many different... Christina V is in it, so it's one of the it's just one of those casts. It's just the more you hear their names, it's so many.
I kind of wish I could have talked about this back. I kind of wish I'd known this back when we were watching it. But this cast kind of reminds me a little bit of you guys need to look up the production team for Metabots. It is insane how many people went on to do, including the director of this show in Gurren Lagann. He got his first directing job as an episode of Metabots. I think I need to go back and rewatch Metabots. Because I'm not going to go into it. But in your own time, look it up. It's insane how many people were on that first season that went on to do just a ton of really cool shit. I'm trying to think, are there any negatives to talk about?
This show was really horny for being about high schoolers.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
There's the one infamous scene that everyone likes to forget about with Mako and not Mako, Satsuki and her mother in the hot tub.
Yeah, I think most people really skip that.
Yeah, that's easily the worst scene in the show by far.
I mean, definitely let everybody know how evil she was.
You don't need to. You don't need to grope your daughter to prove that.
No,
you don't need to show it either.
Yeah.
In school, they always told us show, don't tell, but this one they could have just told. Yeah, that would have been fine. I don't think not about the mom thing, about just the general horniness. It didn't bother me so much when we first watched it because we were 19.
Yeah.
So I was it's a little weird, but she's 17, so she's not that far behind us. It's kind of weird that it's her teachers. But now watching it, it's this is weird. Maybe we should not.
Yeah.
That's just anime in general. It's so many shows that you watch clips or even episodes, and it's if this was real life, it would be illegal.
Yeah, well, I also feel it's very much a bit of a difference between what would be censored here in the US versus what's censored in Japan.
Yeah.
Because I feel they have very different censorship laws over there, or at least very different things that they censor. And also it's just particularly, I think another thing is we don't really think about this sort of stuff, the fact that it's 17-year-olds and it's pretty, weird and not great, but it's just the fact that that's kind of what their shows are sort of like. At least a decent chunk of them lean a bit more ecchi and scantily clad clothed peoples than I would say a lot of American TV does.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is a plot point here.
Yeah.
To play devil's advocate, I will say that this show is not made for kids. It would be at least TV 14 or TVMA here if it was in America.
14, I think.
There was obviously a lot, and there was obviously a lot of adult shows, animated shows in America that pushed the boundaries of what's acceptable. So I guess it's kind of in that same mindset.
Yes, but also the adult cartoons or adult shows, I feel like they go about doing the adult humor and adult elements in a vastly different way than what we see here. Think of it that way.
Yeah.
But
just have it take place in college, and that would wipe away like 80% of the
Right, they should do that more.
But no one cares about college in Japan. It's all about high school.
You know what? You're not far off, because I actually did read an article about, it was an article or a video. They say that a lot of anime shows take place in high school because in Japan they consider high school like the peak of your life. Like once you get adulthood, you're working the monotony for the rest of your life. You're supposed to get, I'm not joking.
Yeah, it's
so
bleak.
Like they say, so they kind of think that like, oh, because so many kids watch this are probably either adults or in high school, they get to relive and think, wow, one of my high school years were like this.
Well, think of it also this way, like, you remember Free?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember how it was like, Haru's whole thing was like, when you swim as a child, you're a prodigy. When you do it, like, when you're a bit older, you're just good. But then once you're doing it as an adult, you're nothing?
Yeah.
That's kind of what that sort of reminds me of.
I can kind of get
It's
that
just-
a little bit.
It's like, you can be the best at something, or like these are like the best years of your lives, but then when you go on to what I think a lot of people would be considering to be like the prime of your life, at least over here, like college age and into your 20s is like what we would consider our prime. Like for them, that's kind of like, oh, your fun adventure times are done. It's time to be more serious because you got to get a job.
And I hate that for us.
Yeah.
I think I'm finally becoming like a stable person going into my 30s. I am ready for my 20s to be over with.
Have your knees stopped working yet?
I did ballet for like a decade. They have not worked in a long time.
My apologies. So, what else to talk about here? Talk some character stuff, talk some animation. Oh, let's talk music a little bit. I like that
It's so good.
every single character gets their own theme in this.
I know.
It's great.
I mean, let's not forget the ultimate meme song, Don't Lose Your Way.
That was my
Solid stuff.
Alarm song to get up in the morning for a good while. It was a very like inspiring song to wake up to.
I like that this show introduced me to, not that I would prefer this genre of music, but techno hoedown music. What a bizarre combination. I never thought I would hear, but I have heard it now.
I love the openings and endings for this show. And funnily enough, my most hated character, her song, frickin' slaps. And I am just like, why did they give this song to you? You don't deserve this song. Give it to someone else.
Dude, because it's a super evil song.
I get that, but it sounds so amazing.
Like weirdly,
The composer of the show, I'm a nerd like this, so I recognize a lot of composers. Hiroyuki Sawano, he's like one of the most famous composers in anime nowadays. If you look up his discography, it's insane how much shows he's done.
I feel like you brought him up recently in another show.
Because
Is that another Trigger one?
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann, maybe?
No,
Or was it
Promare.
Promare, yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, he did. I mean, just some of the big shows that he's done besides Kill la Kill. Attack on Titan, like the full series.
Mhm.
So
Makes
there's
sense.
that. There's that. A bunch of other big shows like Seven Deadly Sins. He did the whole series for that. He did Blue Exorcist, if you watched that show.
Yes.
And obviously he did Promare, so, you know, that was a big show.
I just think it's like a thing that maybe people should do a little bit more often, of like giving more individual themes and like soundtrack stuff. Like there's nothing wrong with like having just an overall sort of like overarching theme for your show that just has variations on mood, but I like when you have a character show up and a very specific song always plays with them. Like
I agree.
I'm
Like, nothing feels better than walking into a room and AC/DC starts playing.
Yeah, that's great. But like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like one of the. I know there's definitely other shows that have done it, but I'm reminded of like the first series of Naruto, how every character kind of got their own little theme song. And yeah, some of the best ones were for the villains. Like, do you remember Orochimaru's one with the? It suddenly goes like we have like I've brought it up before. It's like this. Most of it is like modern rock mixed with like older Japanese traditional instruments, and then suddenly Orochimaru shows up for the first time, and it suddenly goes full Phantom of the Opera with an organ. And I'm like, where did this come from? I don't care. It's awesome. And then the choir of doom with the Akatsuki.
Yeah.
Like you all, anytime.
You just know it as soon as you hear it.
Yeah, you don't gotta see nobody.
No.
You just wait for those opening notes, and it's like, yeah.
It's great.
The second series, Shippuden, didn't do that as much, and I think that was a bit of a shame. But still, they do it here, and I think, yeah, that's one of the few things that I'm like, yeah, you should take from this series and some others like that, is like, let's do that a little bit more often. A little extra work, but it's worth it, you know? Yeah, anything else we want to talk about with this? Any other little
Did you
things
like the twist? Did you like the alien twist with the show? That the clothes are aliens all along?
You know, when I first watched it, I was okay with it because I think, well, I had already seen Gurren Lagann at that point, and that twist had come. So, yeah, I don't really think I had any sort of issue with it because it's also like, on the one hand, yes, twist, aliens, blah, 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 but it's also like, it wasn't really aliens. It was still people doing this. So it didn't really change. It's just the reason behind the bad guys kind of changed a little bit. It didn't like completely change what the show was about. And I think that's why it kind of works for me. Yeah.
At that point, I was like, this show is so weird. Might as well.
Well, yeah, when you've reached the sky, there's nowhere to go but space.
I mean, a talking sailor uniform is already strange enough.
Mm-hmm.
In just the general tone, I feel like space aliens makes sense.
Yeah.
Adult life is already so goddamn weird.
Oh god, it's
They
Venom
made
again.
it make sense. They made it make... Did you say Venom?
They made Venom again. It's an alien.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. It is Venom.
I can't believe I didn't like realize that this was a repeating trend in Trigger shows, but I just thought of it like while I was watching it today. They have this thing of like constantly having everybody's got to be in a duo of some kind to be powerful, which might go back to the anti-classism, anti-capitalism kind of thing of like band together to beat the oppressors. Because like Gurren Lagann, how do they get powerful? They combine their robots and their will to defy people. Kill la Kill, you have
Same with Promare.
Yeah, Promare. This one, I did not watch Darling in the Fucks, but you know, it's 2 people per robot, right? And they got to do it doggy style.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
What?
Never saw it,
You're
but
not
that's
wrong. You're not wrong.
I saw 3 clips of that show, and I think I just covered the entire plot. Also, aliens.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I gotta check this show out.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, Little Witch Academia has like some elements of like friendship and yada yada, but also Kisniver had a thing of like banding together with others. You're kind of forced to, but at the same time, yeah, you kind of, it's like everyone's stronger together than they are individually, which is kind of weird because I feel like a lot of times, as much as people will espouse in a lot of like shonen battle anime stuff like Power of Friendship and all that sort of things, it usually is just one person at the end of it all fighting someone else. But in a lot of these Trigger ones, it's like, no, we're still a team and we fight together. We have to be as one. Don't lose your way.
I mean, hell, their current show that they're making right now is basically a D&D party, so you have to stay together.
Yeah, I mean, we know what happens when we split the party, don't we, Chippy?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, we're playing a home game. But yeah, so...
Did Chibi get eaten by a dragon?
No, but they ran off
right.
one time in a place and then got ambushed by like 6 orcs that were upstairs.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to be scouting ahead, and then I was like, I am small.
You could have been
And they were
stealthy
chasing
about
me
it.
down the stairs. I tried.
Did you get out alive?
I did.
Yeah, no one's
So you're doing
died.
better than Fallon.
No one's died
True.
yet. So yeah, that's I guess kind of something maybe I probably should have noticed earlier with their whole vibe. But yeah, any other things we want to talk about here?
Mm-mm.
All right,
I'm good.
I'm a yay. I've already gone through over half of the series just today, so I gotta finish it. I also gotta finish Cyberpunk and Gurren Lagann and everything else. Oh, thank God, Promare was just a movie.
I'm a yay.
I am also a yay.
It's a high yay. It's one of my favorite anime. It still is one of my favorite anime.
Oh yeah, it's a hard yay for me. And I will say, Kozi is a hard nay.
They're a hard nay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I almost wish they were here to talk about it, because I really want to know what the full... Is it the sexualization
Right?
stuff?
That's what I said. Yeah, it's that, and I think it's just like a little too silly for her tastes.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair.
It is very
I mean-
silly.
She also
very
did not like
silly.
JoJo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
okay.
All right.
She does not have a high tolerance for like the ridiculous.
And Dio's right there the whole time. So it's like... Which, nothing for nothing, I don't know if anyone noticed, the boxer in episode 1, that was Joseph.
Oh.
So,
Of
Yeah.
course.
Oh yeah, Ben Diskin. Yeah.
yeah. Alright, well, there's only 1 week of Trigger Month left, so, Little Witch Academia, let's kind of mellow out a little bit, go out on an easy note, which, you know, what is mellow for Trigger? But, still. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that, and then we'll probably be announcing what we're going to be doing for next month and all that sort of stuff. So come back for that and everything else we got going on. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!